Thank you, Rennie. I'm honored and humbled about this induction in the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. I want to thank Rennie and the Baseball Committee for this great honor. I would like to congratulate all the honorees, especially my buddy Dale Long, who I've had the pleasure of coaching with for the past 10 years. I would also like to congratulate Jared J. Mara and Bob Bogdan, who I coached against for a number of years and served on the Section 2 Baseball Committee. As I look at the former Major League players and college players that are being inducted, this is really baseball royalty. And to think all these Major League players are here to get their picture taken with me, it's even that much more special. This award is something I never imagined would happen when I started coaching 28 years ago. Our goal back then was to field a competitive team and build a program. And we accomplished that. I have often said that throughout my coaching career, I never registered a hit, scored a run, made a putout, or struck out a batter. The credit goes to all the players who ever played for me. I share this award with every player I ever coached, all the assistants that I ever worked with throughout my career. God put me in a position to mentor and guide these student athletes at Saratoga Catholic, a school I love, and I am forever grateful. Many people in my life have helped me accomplish my dreams, too many to name a few. I want to mention first my mom and dad, who are not with me tonight, but I know they're looking down very proud. I had a greatest childhood growing up. Sports were big in my family, and they were the biggest supporters of my life, and I miss them dearly. My wife Joanne, who has supported me throughout my career and taught me that there's other things besides baseball. She put balance in my life. She's the greatest girl ever. The only problem with Joanne I see is that she's got bad taste in men, but other than that, she's great. My son Aiden, who is my best buddy, Aiden inspires me every day. Although his life had a tough start, my son was born pound 7 ounces when he came into the world. He's grown up to be a fine young man, and he's my hero. My school, which I love, in Saratoga Springs, New York, Saratoga Catholic. If you open me up, I bleed purple and gold. In closing, I want to thank everybody who made this wonderful evening possible. Thank you, and God bless you.
What the hell am I doing? My Lord, I'm overwhelmed. I'm basically here because at Queensbury High School we won some baseball games. But I'm really here to give credit where credit's due. Right? I look at my coaching career as a perfect storm. Everything happened perfectly for our success to happen. Mentors, my dad. Tony Merrill was a catcher for Hobart College. He transferred his love of the game to his sons and his grandsons, of which he played, of his 10 grandsons, 9 played baseball in high school and college. 1 played lacrosse. I don't know how the heck that happened. But between all of us, we played for schools like Rockford, Oswego, Portland, Ithaca, Pittsburgh, Stetson, Clemson, and Boston College. So my father's reach is still going with his great-grandchildren. I'm deeply honored, like I said, with all these inductees. I'm overwhelmed, but I'm mostly honored to be inducted the same night as my good buddy Fonzie and my good buddy Bobby Bogdan. all this is about wins, losses, but to me, it's about relationships you make throughout the years. I've never been impressed when I saw coaches reach milestones of 300 wins, 400 wins. I was more impressed with the longevity. My God, these guys love coaching baseball. And here I am 35 years later. So, my mentors, my dad, John Dennett, my high school coach, who was the first guy who really taught me baseball. It wasn't just infield, outfield, go play. And he was a big influence on my choosing that path in my career. I played for Bob Patterson at St. Michael's College of Vermont, Hall of Famer. I played for George Valicente, who I consider to be one of the best college coaches in the country. And there was a gentleman who walked up to my practice one day with a University of Colorado jacket on, introduced himself, and the gentleman's name was Duke Benz, Hall of Famer from Norwich University, Vermont. And he offered to help out with the baseball program. He being a cocky young guy out of college said, no thanks, I know what I'm doing. But we eventually became very good friends, and I just have to thank Duke. He's no longer with us anymore, but I learned more baseball from that man than I could ever imagine. I finally convinced me that I didn't know everything, and it's just phenomenal. So here I am, being mentored by Hall of Fame coaches. Step one, my players. You know the old saying, nobody can win without talent. And I've just had so much, I've been blessed with so many good players throughout the years, it's just amazing. Not only just the kids like Brendan Harris, Billy Anderson, the kids that play pro ball, but the solid young men that are the core of the team year in, year out. I've truly been blessed. My staff. I dare any baseball program in this state to tell me they have a better staff than mine. My guys have been with me for 20 years plus. Modified freshman JV. Joe Layette, my JV coach, has been with me for 35 years. Talk about continuity in the program. Dedicated people that you can't believe. Perfect example, Jason Gathile, my assistant coach for a while. With the budget crunch, he got demoted to modified coach. After his practices, he'd come to ours. After his game, he'd drive to Albany and be at our games. Nobody asked him to, just total dedication. John Potter, Roy Johnson, Jason Gathile, thank you very much. And Joe Layette, the guy that's been with me for 35 years, not here today. He deserves credit for every win or every championship we've ever won. It's easy to coach when you have your athletic director's backing. If he's got your back, it's easy to coach. I've had some great ones. John Dennett, Lloyd Mott, presently Scott Stewart. I especially want to reach out to Lloyd Mott. There was a point in my career where I was done, man. I had the best team I thought I ever had in my life. Principal calls me up. 7 or 9 starters were suspended for training rules violations. Sat down with the AD that afternoon. He let me vent for close to half an hour. Didn't say a word. I said, Lloyd, I'm done. I feel betrayed. I just can't. If this is what it's like, I really don't want to coach anymore. So he let me vent. He said, come with me. He said, this is why you're going to coach. He opened the door to the gym. The remainder of my team was in there playing catch. These are the dedicated ones, and they're depending on you. I knew from that day forward I was going to be a coach. So I thank Lloyd for that. I want to thank my family, my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad, my brother Steve especially, who was a good athlete in his own right. Especially my wife, Tina, the bravest person I'll ever know. Sweetheart, I love you very much. And there's my perfect storm. Great athletes, great coaches, Hall of Fame mentors, and a wonderful family. I just want to thank them all. They deserve all the credit, not me. Thank you very much.
Gotta get some glasses out here. My man said, you made me a good coach that year, buddy. It was great. I had Dave in both basketball and baseball as the assistant coach, and then I got the head job. But I'll tell you something about Dave. I get the job, and the athletic director, like you, Bobby Valentine, was Jim Constanti. He was our athletic director, hired me to come to Hartwick and coach, and I ended up with Dave. We go down to make a southern trip, and when you get talking up here, Dave, I remember all this. I got something for those Valley Cat guys too. I'm going to give you a promotion that they might hate you for, but well, I tell you this, But anyway, we get down to Florida, we're playing a game, and Dave's a big right-hander, throws hard, and all of a sudden he's throwing change-ups. And I go, what the heck's going on here? You know, and I would hear this change-up. So anyway, finally we get the inning over with, and he comes in. And I said, what are you doing? I said, why are you throwing all those change-ups? He says, well, Constanti's calling the pitches. I said, what? He was the AD, and he was a big change-up guy. And he wanted David to learn a change-up. I said, wait a minute. That ain't gonna work to me. But so, anyway, Mr. Constanti and Jim Constanti was great to me and gave me an opportunity. But I said, you hired me to coach this team. Why don't you just let me coach the team? And after that, Dave threw hard. And, we all know the rest of the story. And he pitched great for us at Hartwick and so on. I was a general manager for 10 years in the minor leagues. And I'll get to that part of it. But first of all, I would very much like to introduce my wife, Sharon. Would you stand, please, honey? We've been married 40 years. My daughter, Maria, my older daughter, stand up. Stand up, woman. All right. So I get a chance to come. And my other daughter, JC. You probably saw JC sometime if you went to the Christmas Spectacular, because for 8 years she was a Radio City Rockette. And we're all very proud of that. She's going to be ticked off that I said that, but I'm a proud dad, man. And she did that for 8 years. I was like a jerk in the crowd because I felt like I was at a baseball game or a basketball game. And when she would go through those dance routines, there'd be one guy going, yeah, baby! That'd be me. That'd be me. So we're proud of you. And my daughter Maria gave us 2 beautiful kids. She lives in Fort Lauderdale and flew up today. I'd like to thank, as everybody else, I'd like to thank the committee for this great honor to be part of this induction ceremony with all these great players. I watched you play, Ed. You kidding me? I was a big Met fan and Yankee fan, and you were wonderful to watch. I also knew Andy Van Slyke. Is Andy here? Andy is not here. Okay, I remember Andy Van Slyke when he was a high school basketball player, played in the Oneonta Holiday Basketball Classic, was the MVP. And the next thing I see, he gets signed by the Cardinals, and he's a 13-year veteran in major leagues, and I wanted to see him. I even brought a program for him to see. I was totally surprised when I heard about this New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. And I loved baseball as a kid, of course, and my desire was, like a lot of guys in our era, was to be a major leaguer. I mean, I played as a kid and I was pretty damn good. So here's what happened to me. We had a minor league team in Oneonta, the Oneonta Red Sox. And that was like 1947, 48. I was like 10 years old. We were at the ballpark all the time. I mean, like all the time as kids. It was different. As Dave said, and I know there's a lot of people that can relate to this. In those years, like, we were in the park. We were playing. We played on our own. We got more hits than all these little leaguers do today when they take strike 3 or take 2 pitches. We didn't take anything. We were swinging all day long. I mean, you kidding me? And I thought we learned to play the game. So in my youth, that's what I did. I went to the ballpark, hung around the ballpark, and learned baseball from all those fine guys. Guys like Frank Malzone. And where's Dale Long here. Right there. Is Dale Long the big leaguer, your dad? He played in Oneonta. Did you know that? He's a hell of a nice guy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And he was, I remember him water skiing in Goodyear Lake. How you like that? I'll talk to you later. But we had Frankie Malzone. We had Ike Delock. John Red Marion was our manager. His brother was Marty Marion of the St. Louis Cardinals. We have, of course, Dale Long. We had Sammy White. We had a lot of guys. All those guys took their time to help us kids. We would steal balls, you know that, so that we would have balls to play with. And anyway, as you say, how did you like baseball? How did you get to, that's how I got to like baseball. And so I'm a Greek. My folks came, they were immigrants. My dad came over to Ellis Island when he was 11 years old. And he went to Ellis Island. From Ellis Island, he went to Jamestown, New York. From Jamestown, New York, he went to Syracuse, New York, and then Oneonta. He served in World War II. Then, can you imagine a Greek running a restaurant? We had a restaurant for 70 years. They used to beat me up to go work, but if there was a ball game, they'd go downstairs and get the milk, I went out the back door. My brother would say, don't send them downstairs. He won't come back. But my dad never threw a pitch to me. Not one. Not one. He was working all the time. He loved me dearly. I had a brother and two sisters older than me. My brother was 13 years older than me. My mom came over like in 1921. She was wonderful. She knew zero about sports. And when I got coaching, I'd come home and she would say, how did you do, Nicky? I love that. And I wish I could still do that. I said, we won. Oh, nice. And then we won a lot of times. So one time I came home, she said, how'd you do? I said, we won. Why you not let the other boys win sometime? Come on, ain't that way. Ain't the way it's gonna be. So, getting back to my dad, getting back to the Oneonta Red Sox, getting back to being an 11-year-old, and if you guys, I see a young boy over there. I was at the ballpark one Sunday morning, and the ball club was going to Rome, New York. Oneonta was in the Canadian American League in those years. And I said to the catcher, his name was Steve Salata. He was a terrific, he went as far as AAA. I said, Steve, my dad said, I can go and be bat boy today. He said, are you sure? I said, oh yeah, no problem. So he said, fine. He asked the manager, yeah, bring him, we can use him. So I go to Rome. Bad mistake. So I had a hell of a time. I was a bat boy the whole day, 2 o'clock game. Got home around 7 o'clock in the evening, it's daylight, of course. So I leave the ballpark, walk up to our restaurant. That's where we gathered. And there's my dad, standing in the doorway, the old man. So I walk in. Where you been? Rome, I was a bat boy today. Whack, whack on the butt. You know, I got my brother, 13 years older than me, he's behind the counter. Never forget it. He goes, Dad, stop. He says, take him downstairs where he doesn't make so much noise. How do you like a brother like that? Oh my God. So, anyway, baseball. I mean, I've been a baseball freak all my life, but I coached basketball for some 30 years at the college level. I coached baseball for 7 years at the college level. But my dad, after that incident, I guess he got to like me again, took me to the World Series in 1950. Now, you wonder, do you like baseball? What do you remember as a kid? Well, I remember everything about the game. It was 63 years ago. All right, Whitey Ford's first start. They played the Phillies. They were 3 games ahead of the Phillies. They could sweep them. Ford gets the first start. Gene Woodley misses a fly ball in left field. In about the 7th inning, whatever, Yogi Berra hit a home run. And so they took Ford out, and out of the bullpen comes this guy called the Chief. There's Allie Reynolds. He jumped over that darn thing, and I'm looking, and oh my God. So anyway, he goes in and he strikes out Stan Lopata. Remember, on 3 pitches, Yankees win, bingo. And I'll never forget it. I mean, so that's how much baseball meant to me in those early years. So I went out and I played. We didn't have Little League, but we had Kiwanis League, we had Babe Ruth League. I played high school baseball for 4 years. Actually started as a freshman. I was a good hitter. I could hit, Bobby. I ain't kidding you, I could hit. All right? I had one leg short on the other and I limped a little bit, but I could still hit. All right? I played 4 years of college baseball. Jim Constanti now gets me with Jake Pittler. And I think if I throw some of those names around, I think Ralph Branca might remember Jake Pittler. And they got me to spring training with the Dodgers. And that one, I go down there from Little Oneonta, New York, down to Dodger Town, Vero Beach, and had a tryout. I was there 3 weeks, and I got released. Well, oh my God, my heart was broken. But I gutted it out. First time I ever had any failure. Came back home, people were great to me. I continued to play, then I went to college, got my degree, and started coaching. But here's what happened. I'm coaching in high school, and as I said, we had a restaurant. My brother says, take the receipts to the bank. Take the receipts to the bank. So I'm running across the street. Well, in that time, there was a guy named Joe Buzis, Sam Nader, who ran the Oneonta Club, the Oneonta franchise, the Oneonta Yankees. We had the Yankees for 30 years. The guy says, who's that kid running across the street? He said, oh, that's one of our coaches. He says, he looks like a good athlete. Let's make him the general manager. Is that how you guys got the job at the Valley Cats? Anyway, they throw me the keys and I'm the general manager. Well, nothing could have been better because I missed out on baseball professionally. I was back in baseball, and for 10 years, I met some of the greatest people in all of baseball, and had many managers throughout the years. A guy named Frank Verdi, Jerry Walker, the great George Case. He was the Lou Brock of his era. Hank Majeski, Mike Ferraro. So I got a background from them and helped me coach at the college level. One guy that we had playing Oneonta that you'd all remember is John Elway. And he came, George Steinbrenner signed him, and for $100,000 he played for 6 weeks. And they just tried to convince him to be a Major League Baseball player. But he turned out, as you know, what he decided to do. So the last thing I want to tell the Valley Cat guys, we had all kinds of promotion at the ballpark. We had Max Papkin, we had all these guys just to draw crowds. But we had pony night. Pony night, guys. Try it if you got any guts. All right? So we had a pony in the outfield for 3 days. It was a kids' night. The ponies roaming around there. And make a long story short, the day comes, we're going to give that damn pony away. You couldn't get more people in the ballpark. Oh my God. So, somebody won it. Everybody's laughing, having a good time, except that one guy. He goes, USOB. What am I going to do with this pony? So, but they ended up keeping it. And the last thing I want to tell you, I don't know if it's true with Valley Cats, but the Yankees supplied all the uniforms to us. And so I would get the uniforms in June. It was a rookie league. I got Mickey Mantle shirt, Roger Maris shirt. and I was saying it right in there. And at the end, Pete Sheehy was the equipment guy at Yankee Stadium, and I would send them back. This is back in 1967. What if I'd kept some of those uniforms? How would I have done? That's how not smart I am. But anyway, I could go on and on and on about my baseball life. It was wonderful. And as I said, I haven't met Bobby Valentine. I've read about Ralph Branca, was one of my heroes as a kid. Eddie Kranepool, all you guys. But I got my taste of baseball through being a general manager. And I think I helped a lot of kids that came through get into that first year of baseball and become better players as they progressed. I even pitched batting practice. I even made hot dogs. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
so I'm going to be one of those guys. It's an honor to be included with this distinguished group, which includes so many great players who performed at the highest level of our sport. Craig Biggio, Ed Kranepool, Mark Lemke, Dave Lemanchik, Lou Whitaker, Pat Simmons, and of course Mr. Branca. Thrilled you're here. I tried to look it up and see if you ever crossed paths with my dad back in the early 50s, but I'm not that good with a computer, so I assume that maybe you did. Thank you for being here, and thanks for being such a big part of this event, gentlemen. It's an honor to be entering this Hall of Fame with these men, along with old friends like John Krawicki, gentlemen from whom I have a great deal of respect, like Jay Mara, Bob Bogdan, and my buddy Fonzie Lambert. It's humbling to be joining inductees from previous years like some great area coaches, Tony Rossi, George Rogers, Craig Phillips, former teammates like Bob Weaver and Johnny Mayotte, and some incredible area players I know personally like Timmy Stauffer and Mike Cerbali. Most of all, to be included with my father in this event is an honor that I can't even express in words. It's just tremendous. I would like to thank my good friends Paul Mound, the head baseball coach at Union College and founder of the Saratoga Stampede baseball program, and Fonzie Lambert for giving me the opportunity to stay connected with baseball by allowing me to coach in their respective programs. Thanks tonight to all the wonderful people from Saratoga Catholic who came down to share in this event. Thank you guys. Appreciate you being here. And last but not least, I want to extend a sincere thanks to Rennie, Bobby Pisano, and your entire committee for making this event possible. I sincerely believe that events like this are very important to those of us who love the game of baseball and continue to promote it. In fact, I wanted to close with one thought here that hit close to home for me. Several weeks ago, I was at home watching an episode of Jeopardy. I'm retired, and I have a lot of time on my hands, so I do that. And the answer that came up on the Jeopardy board was his home run in the bottom of the 9th inning won the 1960 World Series for the Pittsburgh Pirates over the New York Yankees. Easy one, so I thought. All three contestants buzzed in. Every one of them got it wrong. These are people who can tell you what the sandal size was of Galileo, okay? And they didn't know Bill Mazeroski. You ask them what the 4th highest peak in the Himalayas was, they'd know that. They didn't know Bill Mazeroski. So that was just sad to me, and one reason why any promotion or positive spin that folks that are gathered here tonight, anyone else can put a spin on the game that we love for this generation and for future generations, that's important. And Rennie, I thank you for doing this, and thank you for including me.
Wow. It's a real honor to come up here and talk about Ted. It's a little bit difficult, but it's a real honor. We grew up in a real rural area outside of St. Johnsville. My father and mother, they had 5 boys, and when my father was 39, he died suddenly. So Don was 13 and Ted was a year and a half, and Ted never knew his father. We had great grandparents and an uncle, and a terrific mother. They all loved baseball. I don't ever remember doing anything other than baseball and basketball. That was our upbringing, and I can't talk about the major leagues here like a lot of you can, and I'm impressed with that, but all I want to say here is what it was like loving baseball. Ted graduated from high school in 1970. He scored 1,858 points, which is still a high school record. I had a 46-point game in high school, and Ted broke that with 47. Ted played soccer for all his years, and he played basketball, obviously, and baseball. Hit tremendous home runs in high school. He went on to play at Brown University, where he batted fourth and was all Ivy League. And the kid on the team that batted third was Billy Howman, who played 10 years with the Chicago White Sox. Summers, Ted did everything he could to try to play in the major leagues, and he went and played in the Cape Cod League with the Chatham Athletics. And a teammate of his there was Dave Bergman, who I know Nick Lambros knows, because he played with the Oneonta Yankees. And Ted actually out-hit Bergman on the Cape. Ted never got signed. His senior year, they moved him from the outfield to first base, and he collided with a pitcher on a pop-up and dislocated his throwing arm. I always thought probably, that might have been the reason for it. But he came to Little Falls and became an English teacher, and he coached varsity baseball for 33 years. Got a couple of notes here because I can't remember some of the stats, but he coached baseball his entire teaching career, which was 31 seasons. He won 533 games, 12 sectional titles, 14 conference titles, and in 1982 they won a New York State Championship. In his 31 seasons, they reached the sectional finals 20 times. That averages out to 17 wins a season in high school, where you usually play about 18 or 20 games a year. 17 wins a season for 31 seasons. A lot of people, including myself, would go to his games early to watch him with a fungo bat before practice. Kids would be telling him, Coach, high pop. And he would hit high pops to the infield out of sight. You couldn't see the ball. And he could do it for the catcher. Now, any of you that have ever handled a fungo bat and hit infield know that today, when you see coaches hitting infield to their players, they take the ball and they throw it up. He hit it up out of sight. And he could do it time after time after time after time. He would tell his outfielders to start running, and he would hit the ball right in stride. It was he was just a master with a fungo bat, and he was a hands-on coach. He threw batting practice. He didn't throw from 30 feet or 35 feet. He threw from the mound. Every practice in high school, he threw the batting practice. Ted, near the end of his career, developed MS, multiple sclerosis. He coached for a few more years, even won a couple of sectional titles, but eventually retired. He's over here in his wheelchair with his loving family. I'd like his family to stand for all that they endured and for all the love that they have for Ted. Wife Sally, daughter Ann, daughter Susan, daughter Genevieve, and son Teddy. Thank you. All the while he was coaching in high school, a bunch of us were teachers. And we were teachers for one reason. We had our summers off. So we played baseball for 25 years, from 1968 to 1993. We played in the Northway League, where the best team up there was always the Glens Falls Lumberjacks. Teams from Cohoes, Colony, the Troy Haymakers, the Sons of Italy, the crowd, who were then the crowds of the athletic club earlier. We played in all these leagues in Syracuse, and I think the most fun was finally getting to play with all of my brothers on the team. And we always had a nucleus, and Ted would always bring some of his high school players to join the team. It was Stan Musial baseball, unlimited age, and we only played for one reason, because we just loved it. Throwing batting practice was a real joy for guys like Gary Staler, Greg Christodoulou, Danny Maney, my brother Larry and Don. Right field, behind right field, there was a mill called Helmont Mills. And in front of the mill was a parking lot. So I would throw batting, these guys were all left-handed hitters. And they would hit cars in the parking lot. So any night we would come to batting practice, people would start coming out of the mill that were working, screaming and yelling at us and moving their cars. Because of the unbelievable shots that these guys would hit. Just incredible. In 1981, we won the New York State Musial Championship in MacArthur Stadium in Syracuse. We played hard. We loved it. We didn't hit ground balls to second base with a man on first and one out and not run it out like Robinson Cano. I'm sorry, Robinson Cano is a great player, but he will not run, he will not hustle. I have no respect for him, sorry. I had to say that. I finally got an audience, I had to say it. Any of you people that have ever watched the Yankees and were Yankee fans, you know that Robinson Cano doesn't hustle. And anyway, I'm gonna get off that. I guess the reason I say that is because we were playing a game in Johnstown. They had a semi-pro team. Tie game, last inning. My brother Larry is coming home. He's rounding third base, just digging, his face is, sweating and red, and he collides with the catcher. Now, everybody ran into the catcher back then. You just did it. So the ball went one way, Larry went unconscious, the catcher's over here trying to collect himself, and my brother Don, who was in the on-deck circle, goes out and grabs Larry by the arm and drags him across the home plate. Umpire says, no, you can't do that. We got the car, went home. Anyway, I want to finish up here by saying that Ted, this is the third Baseball Hall of Fame he's been inducted to. The Greater Utica Sports Hall of Fame inducted him for his coaching career at Little Falls. The Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs inducted him in their Hall of Fame. They did name the dugout in Little Falls the Ted Shaw dugout. And of course today, this wonderful honor. I'd like to tell one story about Ted, and then I'll close. He was coaching at Little Falls, and he was assistant general manager for the Little Falls Mets. It was a Class A farm team. And they had a promotion where they brought Bob Feller into town. And Bob Feller threw batting practice to anybody that wanted to come out of the stands. So everybody's going, Ted, go on up and hit against Bob Feller. Ted goes, no. Finally he did. So he took a pitch, kind of tried to time it, and the second pitch, he hit over 420 feet and over the right center field fence. Bob Feller didn't like that much. So he curved Ted on the next pitch, and Ted hit it up the middle and knocked him down. Never forget that. I was in the stands watching that night. Congratulations, Ted. I want to thank Danny Maynard and Greg Christodoulou for all that they did to get Ted noticed here. And thanks Rennie LaRue, and thank all of you for listening to my silly stories. Thank you.
Well, what a blessing. Seriously, what a blessing to be here tonight in Troy, to see all the local people that I've played for, with, against Jimmy Carice, Ed Shen, Bill Norris, one of my best friends, fellow Hall of Fame inductee from last year who had a career with the Red Sox and the minor league system. And you know, you were just a wonderful friend, Bill. You always will be, but you cheat in tennis. I just have to let you know. When we play tennis, he cheats. You know, one of the things that always struck me when I played baseball professionally in Notre Dame and beyond with the Texas Rangers and the Giants was the talent that came from the Capital District region. And a lot of people were overlooked. You know, this isn't necessarily considered a hotbed of major league talent. However, I beg to differ because I played against a lot of great players that could have played professionally, but just never had that opportunity. Times have changed a little bit. Back then it was a little different in the sense that we didn't have showcases like we do now to showcase your talent. Didn't have the opportunity to play against the best from California or Texas or Florida or fill in the blank. But the bottom line is, if I didn't have that opportunity to play against such great talent, I wouldn't have been able to develop my game to have the opportunity to play for guys like Bobby Valentine in Texas, my first manager in the big leagues, or play with some of the great players that I had an opportunity to play with and against. Lou, you don't remember that I played against you, but I did. And played with great guys like Nolan Ryan, who were one of the classiest individuals. Lou mentioned him, one of the classiest people you'd ever meet, a legend in the game, a giant, and the most humble guy you'd ever meet. He would take time to sign everybody's autograph, look every single one of you in the eye if you wanted that autograph, and be sincere and appreciative that you were there to celebrate the game with him. And as I talk about celebrating the game, that's what this night is about. We've got some amazing people here tonight. I am blessed and honored to be mentioned with this group. Rennie, you've done a phenomenal job in getting everybody to commit to come here and to celebrate this night. But everybody in this room, thank you. Thank you for being that fan of baseball. Thank you for being that person that celebrates with us and allowing us the opportunity to get up there and play that game that we love to play and that you love to watch and love to play yourself. Thank you for the umpires in the room. 86-year-old umpire here tonight, wonderful person, I imagine, but probably can't see this far in front of him because no umpires can. But that's just another story. I'm kidding. By the way, you look just like Lou Holtz. Did anybody ever tell you that? Yeah.
Just like his license plate, you're out of here.
Yeah, that's right, you're out of here. But in all honesty, I'm blessed, I'm honored. It's a dream come true. I've been with amazing people. I can't be in this room tonight without thanking my mother, who's here tonight, and my father, who passed away in April. 2 years ago, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Capital District Hall of Fame, and my father was gracious enough to accept the award on my behalf because I couldn't make it. Dad, I know you're here with us tonight, and I love you. And Mom, I love you too. Thank you so much. Now, that being said, what you probably didn't realize was that I'm an aspiring poet. And just like Casey started off the night, Casey at the bat, I was sitting here thinking, you know, I want to share this talent that I have in poetry. So I jotted down a few things, and I just want to share it with you tonight. All right, it kind of ties in my major league career and how what might have been. The game was in the bottom of the ninth. The score tied 2-2. We only needed one more run, and we all knew what to do. The fans sat on the edge of their seats. The mood was very tense. I only needed just one chance to hit that ball over the fence. The pitcher was mighty tired, and the ball was looking really fat. But I'll be damned if Bobby V didn't take away my bat.
I just want to say thank you so much for letting me be part of this night, and thank you for letting me be able to speak to you, and take care and God bless.
True story. Schaff brothers over here, two of about 18 of them. Summer of '69, I believe it was, we went up with the Kralls out of Schenectady to play up at your place. Very quaint town, very beautiful town. The people loved baseball. It was really old school in the way it should be played. We are up in St. Johnsville. And I got off the thruway and I'm looking for this field. I've never been there before. And here's a little fold-out sign on the ground. Game tonight, 7:30. Kralls from Schenectady. We show up. We had all of the time. Another battle with the Schaff brothers. You know, there was a Schaff in left, a Schaff in center, there was a Schaff catching, there was a Schaff on the other side, Schaff selling hot dogs. We get through, we win 1-0 or 2-1. Now there's a young lady sitting over here at my table. Yeah, young, my age. I met this young lady in Scotia growing up at 6 years old. Carol Ann, stand up. We went out for the summers of '68 and '69. My senior year at college was June of '70. And we go out to this game together. We went to every game for 2 years in a row together. She kept score when I pitched. So that's why I'd get 16, 17 Ks a game. But the true story was, we get done with the game. I win 1-0, 2-1, something really close. But there was a lot of mutual respect between the teams. Get in the dugout, take the spikes off, put the shoes on, we're going to the car. All of a sudden, I'm holding her hand, we're walking out the lot, going to the cars. I hear all this profanity, and it sounded like a gang. I turn around, USOB, they're coming after me. And the whole Schaff family, the whole city of St. Johnsville was chasing us out to our cars. Phil, thank you. I appreciate that. It was very nice. However, getting back to the real story of this night, I'd first like to thank Rennie and his staff for putting the Hall of Fame together, first of all. And thirdly, secondly, for even putting me in the same class with all these gentlemen that are in here before me. You got the great Ralph Branca. You got so many other great stars here, Tony Rossi. And so many of them were inspirations to me in my life. But before I get started, it's a night of saying thank you. Thank you for what we got. Thank you for the people who helped us. Tonight, I'd like to just introduce a couple people. I have 3 children, 2 boys and a daughter, my daughter being my baby. She's not a baby. 29 years old, very close friends. Went to all a great school, high school, with the great John Lester. Courtney, would you please stand up? She's here from Denver. With her fiance, Michael. Got a couple other people over there. A friend of mine for 55 years, we grew up on what we called Pollock Hill in Schenectady. Ed Benduga. Ed, stand up. The young lady I talked about, 59 years I've been with her, Carol Ann. Two very, very special people. My sister, Doreen, please stand up. My best friend. Tony, my best friend, and her spectacular great husband, Rob. For me, the love, passion, and accomplishments of playing a game were brought about when I was 6 years old by a father who started playing catch with me. The next day he'd come home from work, yours truly hounded the hell out of him. Let's play. At 8 years old, I made a Little League team in Scotia. Played Babe Ruth in Schenectady. At 16, I was in the Schenectady and Albany Twilight League. I then went on to the University of New Haven to play for the great legend, Porky Vieira, great baseball coach. I have played for some great coaches in my life, and each one of them is a part and parcel why I'm here. Starting from Little League, a guy named Tom Bowie was my first coach at 8 years old. Had a guy named Scott Crow, John Caulfield. There was a man who just, I think, passed away a week ago in Schenectady, Charlie Sieber. Baseball, he was my Babe Ruth coach. I then went on to this high school called Bishop Gibbons in Schenectady. The great Don Blaha was my coach. Taught me a lot about getting your arm in game shape, how to pitch bat and practice to get it in shape. And he also taught me what wind sprints did for a pitcher's legs. I then was 16 before I got out of school, and I started playing with the Kralls in the Schenectady and Albany Twilight League. The great Tony Rossi, who is down, I think, in the state of Florida, where I've now resided for probably 10 months. He couldn't make it, but I'm very, very close with Tony. There was a man named Carmen DeVitro, who ran the Kralls before Tony took over. He gave me a chance when I was 16. I was a little kid playing with the big boys. That was my dream. And I went along with them and then went down to the University of New Haven to play for the legend Frank Porky Vieira. I didn't go to Hartwick, nothing personal back there. I wish you would have come down and saw us down in New Haven. Would have been glad to have you. But the true story is, it was a special ride. I played from 8 years old when I made a Little League team till I was actually 48. I'm 65. I'm still not old enough to play slow pitch softball yet. Let me tell you that. I've coached a lot of kids in my life. I've had 6 kids that I coached when I lived in Sacramento make the major leagues. I imparted college baseball for 14 years. Many of the men who are in this Hall of Fame and who have preceded me into this Hall of Fame have touched my lives. Many of them I never knew. But they were guys when I was younger that I looked up to. So if you know any of these guys, tell them they made a difference. There were guys like Jimmy Barbieri, Billy Connors, Eddie Barnowski, Donnie, not Dottie, Pepper, Dale Long, good friend of mine, Dale Long Jr. over here, Bill Stafford. Bill Stafford taught me pitching mechanics while at the University of New Haven. He was going to Southern Connecticut State College after he was done with the Yankees. And the next person was my first minor league pitching coach, a guy by the name of Johnny Padres. I was in the San Diego Padre organization after I got to New Haven, and it's ironic that Johnny Padres was a good man and was my first pitching coach. Brian Mee, out of Amsterdam, New York. Knew him a little bit. He just knew me because he used to kick the hell out of me when he hit against me. So he was a special man. But guys that I looked up to, guys I played a lot of basketball with, a couple guys you might have heard of, Barry Kramer and Pat Riley. Didn't know them that well, used to play a lot of basketball with them. But I was 3, 4, 5 years younger than these guys. But they were special. They were the names. They were the guys I looked up to. I wanted to be like them. They made a difference. Last thing I'd like to say is that how many of you this year watched the NFL Hall of Fame induction? Anybody? Chris Carter? Anybody see that? Well, tonight, everybody I named that was a part of my life. I'm not going to get as dramatic as Chris Carter did, but I'm going to tell you, you are all in the Hall of Fame with me. One final statement. I came across a quote about 3 months ago down in Florida, and I don't read much unless it's about, the Red Sox, the Yankees, Mantle Maris, whoever it was. But I came across this quote, and I think it applies to every one of us who are been enshrined in this Hall of Fame or another, and that have played the game because we love it. Forget the money. We played because we loved it. And it was spoken by the great Branch Rickey. And it went something like this. He says, I don't believe that it's the honor that you take with you. It's probably the legacy that you leave behind. Thank you.